The Jets release Le'Veon Bell. The Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast is now under the umbrella of FSA. And the Gadget Guys top the power rankings for a third week in a row. All this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast sponsored by Football, Darts, and Fantasy Sports Alliance. How is everybody on this Wednesday night, 14 October 2020? Hey, little history fact for you I just found out today. 14 October 1947, Chuck Yeager breaks the sound barrier for the first time by traveling over 800 miles per hour. Figured I'd start to show off with a little bit of information like that. Let's talk about our broadcast sponsor, Football Darts. Football Darts is a dart game that combines the skill of traditional darts with the strategies of American football. This innovative dart game is played on a uniquely designed multiple target dartboard. Unlike traditional British darts, American football darts is a game that combines both the skill of darts and the strategies of football. It can be played in sports bars, at tailgate events, as league tournaments, or as a leisure activity in the comfort of your home. If you would like to check out their officially licensed collegiate dartboards, go to footballdarts.com, and you can now find them online at Target and Wayfair. So make sure you go out and check them out. They say an empty wagon makes a lot of noise. Listen to Brad, Josh, and Eric talk fantasy football information and news on the flagship podcast of Fantasy Sports Alliance, the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. The guys talk rankings and projections with a whole lot of comedy. If you listen to them this week, you heard them make the announcement that the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast is now under the umbrella of FSA, and we could not be more excited. This has been in the works in some shape or fashion for quite a while. We're finally happy to have all of us working together. As always, the guys put out 2 shows since our last broadcast, which was a Week 5 preview and a Week 5 recap. I love that these guys are honest brokers. They came back during the recap and let the listening audience know if they were hit or miss on their picks of heroes and villains for the week. If you're not listening to these guys, you are doing fantasy football wrong. Make sure you go over and give them a listen. And we have a new way for you to be able to find their podcast. Go over to our newly designed website at fsa-fr.com. and click on listen in the main menu at the top of the page, and that will take you directly to their show. Make sure you give them a follow on all of their social media. They can be found at Empty Wagon FF. They will be hosting their first broadcast ever under the umbrella of FSA this Friday night going into Saturday morning. So let's call it 12:01 a.m. East Coast time on Saturday. And they will now be part of the permanent and main menu of FSA. And they will also be on Facebook and YouTube at that time. If you are watching this right now on YouTube, thank you for being a subscriber. If you're not subscribed already, go out and do it. We are now at 108 subscribers. We appreciate you all. And before we get into the NFL news, we got a little FSA Lion news for you. Welcome to the set right now. Coach Bill, how are you? How did our FSA Lions do this week?
Well, it's great to be here with you, Brian. You know, the football didn't bounce our way in week 1, but the kids played real hard. Real proud of the effort that they put out there, left it all on the field. We had some intense film sessions this week. We really took focused this tonight at practice on really some advanced skills, really polished, you know, the intricacies of the game. Like pulling the flag and running towards the right end zone. So I think the outlook is bright for week 2. We definitely have the coolest sponsor in the whole league, and we think that's going to give us an edge out there this year.
I believe we've got some game film during this past Saturday's game, FSA Lions defense. So let's see it. I'm pretty sure even though this is flag football, I think I saw a tackle in there, maybe right at the end of that play.
Well, the kids, they play with a lot of heart, and that's what makes it great. Real proud of them.
All right, so when is the next game, Coach Bill?
Saturday at 10 a.m. We're taking on, I believe it is the Bills.
Cool. Who are the Bills sponsor?
I don't know. Probably some losers.
It doesn't matter because it's not FSA, right?
That's right.
All right. I know you got something you got to do tonight, super important. So thank you for jumping on with us. We appreciate it. And good luck this Saturday, FSA Lions. Go.
Hey, thanks, FSA.
Talk to you later. Hey, before we get into these games of the week and our NFL news, if you're not already following us on all of our social media, make sure you go out there. We're on the Instagram, the Twitter sphere. I like whenever Brad says that, or Josh or Eric or any of the guys from Empty Wagon when they say Twitter sphere. We're on Facebook, of course, if you're watching this on Facebook right now, and YouTube. Heck, hey, we even made our first TikTok video last weekend. Right after we got done releasing the new website, I thought, what is the very first TikTok that we can do, even though I've just been trolling everybody for weeks now? We put one together, and that thing has had 207 views on it already. We got to thank Justin Clark mostly from the VRV for helping us put that together. I think the duet that he did on there is probably the reason why we have those views. But since I'm mentioning Justin Clark right now from the VRV, Justin Clark introduced me to these great group of guys, and you might know them as the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. We happen to have one of the trio on with us tonight. We got Josh Hughes on with us right now from Empty Wagon. Josh, how are you?
I am great, man. I just want to say I love Coach Bill. That guy is awesome.
So that's Bill the Third. From he's in everything. He's in the redraft with us. I think he's in at least one dynasty with us. He's in the arm and leg with us as well. He used to be my company commander back when I was a first sergeant. So good dude.
That dude is so cool. I love him. Great person.
Kevin, how are you?
I am doing well. I am happy to be back here on a Wednesday night, and I do thank Josh for jumping in here with us. Glad to have everybody on board.
How was the Average Bros show last night?
Average to say at best. Had a little bit of competition. Put up a bigger fight than what Josh Allen and the Bills did, but
too soon, man. Too soon. Way too soon. That hurts a little bit.
I love it.
Hey, so Josh, you guys made great announcements over the show this week about you guys coming under the umbrella of FSA. So this is something that we've had in the works for a really long time. In fact, I think you guys were actually the ones that got the ball rolling on this when you brought it up to me. And I did not think FSA was worthy of being with Empty Wagon because you guys were so awesome. I did not want to taint the Empty Wagon name, which is why this has taken as long as it has to get to the point that we're at right now. But I couldn't be, to hear you guys talk about it when I was on my drive in and at home this week, it's very, very humbling. I'm very excited to be a part of this with you guys. I can't wait to see what your first broadcast is going to look like this weekend. That should be a lot of fun.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I think I'll be there. I'll make a face appearance if you want. If nothing else, I'm going to be in the background producing the show for you at 0001 Saturday morning East Coast time. That'd be too easy. I'll drink 4 or 5 monsters and we'll be good.
Man.
Yeah, not bad at all. All right, so hey, I'm going to get into some NFL news, and I figure all three of us can bounce this information around. So stop me at any time because I got diarrhea of the mouth. So we started at the top of the show. We talked about Le'Veon Bell being released by the Jets, probably a relationship that was doomed from the very start. My beloved Jets letting Le'Veon Bell go. He was my number 2 overall pick last year at the turn in redraft after taking Julio Jones. Sad to see him go. Has he cleared waivers yet?
I'm not sure. I believe he has. Either way, no one's going to scoop him up off waivers because of the $6 million that he owes, or that he's owed, and it's offsetting. So he can sign a league minimum, and he's still going to make $6 million no matter what. So I fully expect him to clear the waivers and end up with a team. But I want to know what you guys think. Which team do you think he's going to end up with? Because I have my own thoughts on that.
I'm going to let Kevin go first because I'm going to tell you I saw an interesting post earlier today that I wholeheartedly agree with, and I wanted to make sure that I brought it up on the show tonight. So, Kev, and don't say the Patriots. You're not allowed to say the Patriots in this at all. So, besides the Patriots, where do you see him going?
No, so I'm a realist when it comes to that. I know plenty of teams out there that as soon as somebody becomes available, they want to go get that guy. I'm not that person. I don't think he's a fit in New England. Granted, we are used to scooping people up for league minimums. Insert Cam Newton. But with that being said, our running back room is already filled. We brought 6 in at the beginning of the season, so he's not going to New England. I think he ends up being a Chicago Bear. I think it makes the most sense there. With the injuries that they've had, and plus not trusting either one of them 100% with Cohen there. So I think that they are more of a smash mouth football team, especially with the way that they run it with Foles within the system. It's more run and gun. You want the 5-6 yard chunk plays, which I believe Bell still can get if coached properly. That definitely opens up the deeper, more simplistic plays that Foles is used to running because you've got 2 sides of the ball now. You really don't have to be that dynamic in the pass game anymore. So for me, it's the Bears.
Josh, you want to go first? You want me to say my little piece?
Go ahead, bud.
All right, so I can't take credit for this, but I thought it was spot on when I saw it. The guy said he looked across the depth charts of all of the NFL teams, and the perfect team that needs a running back, take Le'Veon Bell, is the New York Jets.
I was going to say the same thing.
And I thought it was pretty spot on because they're not wrong. So this is a bad – Adam Gase is a terrible head coach. And I don't know – we're going to talk about – we talked about Bill O'Brien being gone last week. We're going to talk about Atlanta's GM and head coach being gone this week. And the fact that the 2 of them are gone before Adam Gase is fired is just – I don't get it. I told the wife last night, I'm done watching this dumpster fire being dragged by a short yellow bus. It's time for me to jump ship and find another team. A couple years ago, I thought that was going to be the Detroit Lions. Not much of a step up. So I said, hey, Josh Allen gets it done for me tonight. I win this redraft game. I'm going out to buy the Josh Allen jersey. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. And we'll find out in a few seconds that there will be no Josh Allen jersey for me, and there will be no Buffalo Bills fans for me. F you, Josh Allen.
I think it was the mustache. I think that mustache sucked his power out, Josh Allen.
Oh, man. So I was doing a lot of looking, and I realized that a team that would be perfect based on what they did when they were very successful a couple of years ago, and I know that they already have a pretty decent running back room, but I actually think that the Los Angeles Rams would be really good fit for Le'Veon Bell. He's more agile, I think, than Todd Gurley is, but you got to think about it. He's the same player. He catches a lot of passes out of the backfield, and he's going to be one of those guys that they can rely on. Cam Akers has been hurt. He was a little injured at Florida State, not nearly like Dalvin Cook, but Malcolm Brown hasn't really been a thing, and all their guys are really inconsistent. They said they were going to go with the hot hand, but, man, seeing Le'Veon Bell in that uniform, especially the white ones, not the blue ones. The blue ones look like trash, but the white ones, man, they look good. I think it'd be a good fit.
I'm not sure how I feel about that or the Chargers uniforms this year. I just don't know if I can get behind either one of them. No idea.
Those Chargers. Oh, I like those Chargers.
Yeah, do you? Yeah.
Love them. Absolutely love him. But, yeah, there's no telling where he's going to end up. He's a hired gun now.
Yeah, I don't think that the Rams is actually a bad fit. I think that makes sense going there. The only issue is, do you think they go with an older player like Le'Veon now, or do you think they stay young through the draft and just wait for somebody and just, especially with how good that division is or can be when everyone's firing all cylinders, do they stay young and just wait for a draft or a younger player to come out?
Well, I mean, they already have Cam Akers, like I said, and this would be a one-year deal for Le'Veon. I mean, they're a team who's positioned to do well this year, and I think that could be another one is in the same division, Arizona. They've been inconsistent with Chase Edmonds and Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake hasn't really been what we all thought he was going to be, especially in the fantasy community. They've used Chase Edmonds to catch a lot more passes. I think if you can have that 3-down back that'll be consistent for you and stay on the field, it'll help that kind of offense that they want to run in Arizona as well. So I like both of those teams. There's no telling where this guy's going to end up. I mean, I've heard the Chiefs as well. I don't think he's going to be a Chief, but I've heard a lot of that too. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting week. I think he's going to take his time and make a good decision because the money's there no matter what.
So I see Eric out here said we do just fine tanking our name. I'm wondering what he means by that. And then also at the same time, if he's out there texting us right now, I'm wondering why he's not in this chat room with us. Eric, where are you?
Yeah,
We're
easy.
waiting on you, bud. We're waiting on you.
What are you doing? Being a father? Grow up.
Hey, so the Le'Veon Bell news came out during last night's game and when the Average Bros were on, so we kind of put it out during the show. But new news that came out today, probably not new to anybody by now. It's a couple hours old. Denver running back Melvin Gordon was charged with a DUI and speeding Tuesday night. Based on precedent in the NFL, he's probably likely to face a 2 or 3 game suspension. What do you think this does to Denver?
Go ahead, Kevin.
I don't think it does much to him because Philip Lindsay is coming back, and Melvin Gordon wasn't necessarily a mainstay as having as heavy as a focus there as he did it with the Chargers. It wasn't necessarily a guaranteed big numbers every week for him, only because of how many other weapons they had around the ball and having the replacements at quarterback, right? So when you bring in a new quarterback, you're changing your playbook around a bunch, your whole style around to where I don't think anything was coming up out of that team anyway, just because of the change. So I don't think this really does anything for him regardless. I mean, it's not good that they don't have him because he's an obvious threat, but I don't think they're any worse without him, I should say.
I agree.
Well, I'll tell you from a fantasy standpoint, this is all I cared about. I saw that he might be suspended for 2 or 3 games and play my wife this week. I was pretty sure that he was in her starting lineup when I saw it this morning. I got really excited because I thought, well, I'm like only got 1 win across her in a lifetime. So I thought maybe it was, but she doesn't have him. So unfortunately, but yeah, just, a talented dude doing dumb stuff and whatever. He's going to serve his time for doing dumb stuff. So we already talked about Atlanta Falcons coach Dan Quinn, a general manager, being fired. Team started 0-5 for the first time since 1997. Again, another group of guys gone before Adam Gase. Josh, what do you think?
About time. He was living on that Super Bowl appearance for a few years.
Yeah.
But I mean, just watching this they're one of the most talented teams, especially offensively, in the entire NFL. You say whatever you want, but I truly believe that. And for them to be 0-5, it's a tragedy. I think that he needed to be gone. It just doesn't make sense to me that the defense was so terrible that they promoted the defensive coordinator to be the interim head coach, which is classic Falcons there. But I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think they're going to be in the market for another quarterback anyway. This will probably be we're seeing the winding down of Matty Ice's career. I don't know who they're going to get. I know the hot name right now around all the NFL circles is Eric Bieniemy, but nothing's going to happen until the offseason anyway because of tampering. So we'll see. We'll see.
I think Kevin mentioned the same thing about how crazy it is. You bring the defensive coordinator in as your interim head coach, right? And you guys mentioned it on the show this week. Great offense, shitty defense. I mean, so
why promote that guy? I don't get it.
Which was absolutely astonishing to me that I actually went out to try to find a Falcons fan and ask them, and their words were better than having the offensive coordinator promoted. And that absolutely blew my mind that there must be something that we don't see at a national scale that goes on down in Atlanta that has that team all torn up, because to promote a guy that's given up 3 big leads, can't stop anything, let up so many points, let's give that guy a shot at having a head coach position, and that makes sense. Yeah, that one is definitely a head scratcher, but I do agree 100%. I thought he should have been out after last year. I don't think he should have even been brought back in for this year. I think they should have started their rebuild process already, especially out of that division. I know that they do have a pretty high-powered offense, on paper, but when you look at the teams that they've got to beat out the division, Christian McCaffrey, Michael Thomas, and Drew Brees, all the weapons that Brady has, I mean, even with Julio on that team, you're still at the bottom of the barrel compared to the rest. So they should have rebuilt the end of last season heading into this year.
Yeah, and we already know what's going to happen. We've seen both of these guys be head coaches before. They were actually both head coaches for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dirk Cutter and Raheem Morris, and we both know that they never won a Super Bowl. So whoever was going to be a lame duck situation anyway. I don't know. The Falcons, they're kind of in purgatory. Not as bad as the Jets, because at least I think the Falcons are good. The poor Jets and Giants, man, they're not good. But at least the Giants showed us a little bit tonight. Or this past weekend.
Eric put on there that saying that stop doing that, Kevin. Worried about not being worthy of the Indy wagon and tanking our name. He said, if I heard you right, might have said tainting, but I don't know if we can say taint on here. Why not? I already said shitty tonight. Said you guys do a fine job of looking silly every week anyways without any help. No, I think you guys do great. I mean, Kevin and I were listening to the last little bit of the show just before we went live. Both of us are over here laughing. It's the great comedy that you guys put in the show that everybody's attracted to. So I can't wait to have you guys doing the broadcast this weekend. That should be a lot of fun.
Thank you. I do. My back is very sore from carrying Eric and Brad, but I do what I can.
Yeah, I am. I'm happy to have the good Josh on, opposed to the bad Josh on a Wednesday night.
I love it. Hey, so I don't want you to get in trouble with Mom. Are you okay, Josh? You got to go?
I think I'm good for a little bit. What else we got, okay, boys?
We won't keep you too much longer. So, all right. So more NFL news, not news anymore. But of course, we know Dak Prescott went down with a season-ending injury. He had the surgery. Looks like everything went well. 4 to 6 month recovery window. I think probably the biggest thing is, and it's been brought up quite a bit, is what does that look like for a contract for him? I don't think we should probably speculate anything here, but just something for people to think about. He's already playing on a franchise tag now. Speculation is probably another franchise tag when he comes off of it. But, yeah, that's about as far as we'll go with that then. And then schedule changes. Schedule changes, I tell you, there are lots of them. So there were 7 additional NFL changes made to the schedule after the ripple effect of the postponement of the Denver-New England game. The good thing is we don't really have to keep up with it. I was going to list them all here, but rather than me do that, go out to NFL.com or go out to MFL, my fantasy league, which is where we're the scoring engine for FSA. It has all been updated there for you, so you know what's going on with your teams. Hey, so let's get into these games of the week around FSA. They are brought to you this week by Southern Siren Sugar Scrub. So we mentioned it last week as a possible game of the week, and the game did not disappoint. It's not only our game of the week across all the alliance, it was actually our margin of victory game as well, as the Naughty Dogs got the revenge on last season's playoff contention elimination with a 1.76 victory over yours truly. My shoulder is still sore from throwing the remote and my phone around the house last night. Throat is a little sore from saying cuss words that my children should never hear, to the point that my wife is sending me a text from upstairs saying, shut up, your children are sleeping. And I lose the game 148.26 to 146.50. I think Sean is out there, the general manager of the Naughty Dogs. I got to give him props. Sean, congratulations. I know we were both sitting on the edge of our seats all night. F you, Josh Allen. Eric says, did I miss the power rankings? You know what? We're going to skip the power rankings tonight just because you're not here, and it's the only part of the show that you want to see right now, just because you want to see yourself number one again. Gosh, so selfish you are.
Skip.
All right, let's get into the New England Phoenix region. The average Joes was the highest scoring team in the New England Phoenix region, with a total of 193 points, which was also the second highest score in all of the alliance. That point total got them the win over the 1863 Ramblers. Final score there was 193 to 150. In the Appalachian region, the Meyer Wolf got their first win of the season with a 169 to 118 win over the fantasy football team. Yes, that really is their name.
I was like, what?
In the Great Lakes region, the Garbage Points handed the Killers their first loss of the season, And it couldn't have come at a worse time for John Bashore, who is the general manager of the Killers, and my father, as he celebrates his 73rd birthday today. So sorry we couldn't get a win. Yeah, right? Sorry we couldn't get a win for you this week, Pops, but happy birthday. Final score there was 185 to 150, and consequently, the 150 points that the Steelers scored would have beat every other team in the region this week except for the team he had to play. Poor Dad. He's probably out there watching right now. I think they're tuning in on YouTube tonight to watch this. We already talked about the game of the week for all of the Alliance coming out of the South Atlantic region. Naughty Dogs will rub it in a little bit more. 148 to 146 win over me. In the Gulf Coast, Brady sits down to number one. Yes, that's really the team's name. Was the highest scoring team in all of the Alliance this week with a 197-point win, which gave them a 160-point win over the Labradors. Mm-hmm. And in the Western region, the Gadget guys, all they do is win. They are now one of two teams that remain undefeated after the defeat of the Front Range Tiburones. Final score there, 187 to 125. The Tiburones still looking for their first win of the year. And before we get into any of the Dynasty games, I want to see how you guys felt about all of the games of the week out of the Alliance. Poor Dad. 73rd birthday.
Yeah.
Has to hear that.
Yeah. That's a pretty nice gift there.
Yeah, Garbage Points giving him a really great gift. Yeah, but not such a bad thing. I mean, he dropped in the power rankings, but he went from number 2 to number 3 with that loss. So you can't be real heartbroken about that, to be sitting right where he's at with the team that he's got at the moment. So, yeah. And, of course, we got to bring it up to Eric again, and MJ saying, go Gadget. Yeah, I'm still – we're all over here shaking our heads and scratching him. We still don't know how he's doing it. Smoke and mirrors, but he is 5-0 and only one of two teams that is 5-0 currently. All right, let's get back over here and let's talk about the Dynasty games of the week. So in the closest margin of victory game across all of the Dynasty leagues came in the Alpha League, and we're going to mention one of the other guys from the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. The Northern Kentucky River Monsters defeated the Dayton Triangles by 2.1 points, the final score of 167 to 165. And I see Damian Gratz, who is the general manager of Garbage Point, saying, sorry, John, right there. I'm sure he appreciates that, man. In the Bravo Dynasty League, the Bridgeport Jets are not playing anything like the New York Jets because they are actually getting wins. This week's win came against the Providence Steamrollers. Final score there was 189 to 129. Whew. In the Charlie Dynasty League, the Scottish Claymores remain the only undefeated team in Charlie Dynasty as they defeated the Washington Federals with a final score of 137 to 103. And then after suffering their first loss last week, the Orlando Apollos bounced back with the highest score in Delta Dynasty. They knocked off the New York, New Jersey Hitmen with a final score of 185 to 120. Let's dip right into the arm and leg, brought to you, of course, as always, by QB54. Right there it is. Did I click on it? Did you click on it? What did you do, Kevin?
You clicked on it. I didn't touch nothing.
You all seeing that? Okay, cool. I'm looking at the wrong screen trying to figure out why I don't see QB54. And this is why I should not produce the show. In the arm and leg league, we had our first 0-0 tie. Right here it is, Bill the Third against Eric T. But Bill the Third collected the win because he had the overtime margin of victory. Final score there in overtime, 5-0. What a great burner of a game. And then in the NFC, Brett and Cody T had a great matchup as Brett was able to pull off the win. Final score there, 27 to 26.
Nice.
Any thoughts about all of the games this week?
I just want to ask, if I beat the Apollos and the Apollos beat you, that makes me the best team in New York, right?
So I'll tell you what, we'll settle that whenever you and I play against each other. Do you even know what week we play yet?
I still don't know. I haven't checked.
It doesn't matter. I have terrible dynasty teams, and I'm not keeping up with it. I thought it was going to be a great idea, and I still do love it. It's just that I'm so focused on the redraft and my 1.76 point loss to the Naughty Dogs. It's so heartbreaking. I just got to get past my wife this week. I think if I lose to her again, it'd be it'd be very sad.
It's the one game you got to win. It's like every year I watch Auburn. Auburn can go 0-10 as long as they beat Alabama.
Yeah, but when was the last time that happened?
Last year, dude.
That's what I thought. Okay, I said that, and as I said that, I thought, wait a minute.
Google it, bro. Yeah, Google it. Okay, big deal.
Hey, I do have a question. Is Eric still out there right now? Because this is the part that he wants to see, and we're going to go ahead and let him have it. We'll get to these power rankings here. This week's power rankings brought to you by Finger Lakes Mercantile and their owner, Brandon Gums, who does all the video editing for us and great FSA products out there. So we'll mention it. Eric, congratulations on 3 weeks in a row in the #1 power ranking spot. And I say that, and we would think, oh, it's close, but he has 10 quality wins. The guy behind him has 10 quality wins, and Eric is still a full 2 points ahead of this guy. It's just, we need more buys. We need more teams on buys to make sure that Eric doesn't have these kind of weeks anymore is what we need. But keep on rolling, man. The other guy's got 10 quality wins and is also undefeated, is the Rum Runners there in the #2 spot. And, of course, Dad and his birthday loss falls to #3. Rounding out the top 25 is the team that knocked off the Killers this week, Garbage Points. Let's see. I would ask Josh where you're at in these power rankings. However, since you decided not to bring back the Mojave Thundercats this year, we're not in the power ranking business with you this year.
I'm so ashamed of that, too.
That's all right. The Factory of Sadness and the Gadget guys are getting it done. So
yeah, they didn't play last year, so now I brought them in. It's addition by subtraction, bud.
I do appreciate them coming over. So, Kevin, where are you at on this list? Are you even in the first column? You're one spot behind.
Yeah.
How are you a spot behind me?
Well, it's been a rough run here. That's we're on and off with wins. Win last week, lose again this week. I'm watching, my arch nemesis, the mad scientist, continue to stay relevant within the top 25, and I'm grasping that air here.
I'm not sure if this got published already or not. Eric says I'm #1. I'm #1. We're never going to hear the end of this. Somebody needs to knock him off, so we'll stop hearing this thing.
I'm going to give it to him on Friday. Oh, I can't wait.
All right, hey, so I got 2 games of the week previews for you coming into week 6. So in the redraft league out of the New England Phoenix region, we got the #9 Average Joe's versus the #13 Chef Boisharlee. Average Joe's currently favored by 30.5. However, Chef Boisharlee still – Average Joe's currently favored by 30.5, but Chef Boisharlee still has a player in his lineup that is on bye for week 6. So once he makes that adjustment, more than likely that favorability will either go away or drop a little bit. And then across all of our dynasties, we've got a really good one in Delta as the Corpus Christi Hammerheads are facing the Still Valley Smash. Both teams 4-1 and top of their respective divisions. Hammerheads have more points this year, 73 more points than do the Smash. And they are currently favored by 4.8 points going into this game. So we will make sure that we highlight those games for the games of the week when we come back next week for week 6 wrap up. All right, so this is the part where we usually ask Kevin, how did we do in our primetime games last week? And then we talk about this upcoming week's primetime games. But one thing we wanted to make sure that we mentioned was there is no Thursday night football this week. Yeah, I would like to say that it's not – I kind of be happy with a little bit of a break on a Thursday night, I guess. I want to say said no one ever, but So I think I need a little bit of a break. So no Thursday night football, probably not a bad deal. However, we get another double Monday night game, which is the bonus out of it. So let's talk about how did we do last week, Kevin? I don't even know who I picked last week.
Last week we were the same across the board with Tampa, Seattle, and then the Saints. So we both went 2-1, which brings your total to 10-6 on our picks for the year, and myself slightly behind at 7-9.
So what you're saying is I'm number one? Eat that, Eric.
Yes. I'll give you that. You are number one.
I am number one. Hey, so you know what? I just realized that I did not do is get the plus minus and the over under for these games. And it's usually just a formality as I say what they are, and we still pick straight up who we'd like to win these games. Jason Hazlett asked earlier in the show, what was this hat that I was wearing? I'm wearing it because the Sunday night game is between the LA Rams and San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. This is New Era's line of minimalist hat that dated a couple of years ago before the Rams decided that they were going to change their logos to whatever that horrible looking thing is they have now. And this was one of the hats I've got along with the Jets, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the New England Patriots. I like this hat. Probably not a fan favorite by a lot of people, but I am wearing it because I like the Rams over the 49ers. Josh, you are the guest on the show. Who do you like Sunday Night Football?
I would go with the Rams as well. I think the 49ers are kind of in disarray, and they got spanked by Miami last week. I think that is not good. They pulled Jimmy G. In some leagues, he was negative fantasy points. It actually helped me win in Dynasty against the Omaha Mustangs. So very appreciative of that. And I don't think they're going to win this week. I like the Rams quite a bit.
I tell you who else was negative on San Francisco's roster was their defense. Probably caught so many things. I'm going to make excuses now. So many things cost me that game against Sean. The second interception by Josh Allen, not getting the 2-point conversion, the sack, the fumble, the defense, me not starting Bob Forrest, all of those things, just whatever.
You got to keep Bob Forrest in that lineup, bud.
He's in there this week. I promise you he is. Kev, who do you like between the Rams and the 49ers?
I have a feeling that we're going to be opposite on all of our picks this week. I am going with the 49ers. I think that they have a bounce-back game, although their roster and play last week would say otherwise. I have a hard time rooting against them or voting against them just because of the last season's ways to win that they've come up with, especially with arguably the number one tight end in the league, Kittle, on their team, and making a way one way or another. So I take the 49ers this week.
Just have to have the hat close. I'll do it for you because this one doesn't come out very often, but I'll put it on for you. Yeah, right. Fancy. All right. So Kansas City at Buffalo. Josh, you pick this one first. I'm not even going to put out there who I like right now.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs after they got, I'm going to say, embarrassed by the Raiders, but I think this is kind of the beginning of the slide a little bit. The the Titans gave us a nice little blueprint on how to beat Josh Allen. That's by making him a little patient. And instead of going for those deep shots, they made him take the underneath stuff, and that's not what he's about. So I think hopefully they watch that, and they're going to come back strong against the Bills this week.
Kev, who do you like?
I am lone wolfing it again. I assume I'm going to go Josh Allen and the best team in New York outside of my Knights. I think there's a possibility he gets John Brown back, I believe, this week. With the added pieces in the backfield as far as the nobodies that they're making names with, and then trying to mix Diggs in there as well, as they did a couple of times, but obviously being down so far, they had to put the ball in the air. They couldn't really get any of that gadgety stuff going. I think just as much as they're reeling from the Titans loss, I think that the Chiefs are from the Raiders loss. I think that this is a prove-it game both sides, and I think that Josh Allen gets the win and redeems himself.
I think it's too soon for me to get excited about anything Buffalo right now. I'm not a Josh Allen fan at the moment. It's probably going to take me a couple of weeks to get over this. So I'm going to Damian says the same thing. Damian ended up losing his game this week because Josh Allen didn't perform. I know, Kevin, you ended up not winning this week because Stephon Diggs didn't do what you expected.
Yep.
But you needed like a ridiculous 37
Yeah,
point.
mine was outlandish. I needed 35 points. I think we boiled it down to 100 yards, 10 receptions, and at least 2 touchdowns, and we would have been close. But that didn't happen.
That's not a lot to ask for. Not a lot at all.
No.
We'll get there.
Easy enough. I'm going with the Chiefs. It'll take me a couple of weeks for me to get over this Buffalo thing. So for at least another week, I'm still a Jets fan. All right. So that was our first of our doubleheader for Monday night. The second game is Arizona at Dallas. Kev, you go first.
I'm taking Arizona. For those who did not watch yesterday on the Average Bros, I did take Christian Kirk as my big flex of the week. I think they start to get him in the mix more there, finding a rhythm, aging out. Fitzy, I think that team does start to find its rhythm and put the pieces together, especially against a pretty bad Dallas defense, who has put up big numbers and, retooling the offense to be run by Andy Dalton. I think that Arizona will walk away with it.
Josh, what do you think?
I have to agree with Kevin. I think Dallas is on the ropes right now. Things are not good over there. And Arizona, I mean, their offense has sputtered a little bit the past couple of weeks, but they know how to get right. And I don't know. I can't see me picking Dallas in this one at all. I just don't. I don't see how you could. They just lost the most important player on the team. They also have a terrible defense. It makes no sense to go with them. I got to go Arizona. Easy.
All right, then I'm going to be the lone wolf here. I'm going to pick Dallas. I think this is we have to win this one for Dak kind of game. Dalton will finally be able to get all of those first-team reps that he probably hasn't been getting. I don't know that home field advantage is as big of a deal this year as it is in past years, but they are at home. I really wish I had the over-under and the point spread for these games. Either way, I'm going to take Dallas straight up. And I think that has a lot to do with me picking up Andy Dalton for my fill-in. Do we expect a high-scoring game? Out of which one, Damian?
I believe he's talking about the Dallas game, as most of their games have been high-scoring to date. I don't think that they'll put up that many points on Arizona. I think that they know how to face tougher offenses, having played your Russell Wilsons and the 49ers and being in a tougher division than what the Dallas is and the teams that Dallas has played already. I think that they'll hold them, pretty low. I think that it could be lower scoring, under 30 for both teams, but I think the gap is definitely bigger than what you've seen Dallas face in the past couple weeks.
Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed. I did pick up Andy Dalton. I mostly did it. So a little foreshadowing a couple of weeks ago. I realized Derek Carr had this week off, week 6. I knew I was playing my wife. I looked across her roster. She was going to be losing her quarterback for the week. I thought we were both going to be going with one quarterback and using a super flex spot for another one. I saw Dak go down. I knew Andy Dalton would be out there probably for an easy grab. So I thought I would sneak in and grab myself a second quarterback so I wouldn't have to play one. And when you know it, my wife did the same thing in the middle of the night last night. She waited until I was asleep, and she went and grabbed herself a second quarterback. She always surprises me. She always amazes me what she does. I woke up this morning, and I saw the email come in saying that she had set her lineup, and it had an extra quarterback in it. And I woke her up. I said, "You sneaky little," yeah, and then left to go to work. All right, so buys this week. For now, we've got 4 teams off. We got Seattle, the Chargers, the Saints, and the Raiders off this week. A lot of big players that are going to be out there. So we're going to be losing Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Do we really lose anybody that's a Keenan Allen out of the Chargers?
Keenan Allen, I think people were getting to the point where they were starting Justin Herbert a little bit. And I think, you're going to lose him. people were probably shying away from Josh Kelly and Justin Jackson. I don't see that. And Mike Williams had a good game, and I think if he would have played this week, he would have been all right. But nobody else really relevant from the Chargers, no.
So Michael Thomas isn't going to start again, even if they were playing again this week. So we lose Breeze for those that are in 2 quarterback leagues. Kamara, Emmanuel Sanders, maybe for some people.
He was getting flexed a little bit, yeah.
Traquan Smith, if you're the other Josh.
If you're a fan of the Average Bros, you'll find why that's funny. And then the Raiders, even though it was Eric's villain of the week was Derek Carr. Derek this week. And it's funny. I was telling Kev before we went live tonight, I actually listened to the week 5 preview after the games were already done. And I had started Derek Carr this week. And I'm glad. I was like, you know what? I'm so glad I didn't hear that prior to, because that would have been enough for me to probably bench Derek Carr just hearing Eric say that. And I'm glad that I didn't. But I'm glad you guys are honest brokers and you come back and you let us know how that looks after the fact. I think what I'm going to do is letting the fans know now. We have already seen what the new Heroes and Villains is going to look like. I think what I'm going to do is publish those after I hear you guys' Heroes and Villains on Friday going into Saturday. And then when you guys come out and do your recap, if you continue to do that, I'm going to take that same image, and the ones that you guys get right, I'm going to leave in color. And the ones you get wrong, I'm going to change the images black and white and make it a real honest brokers for you all whenever it goes out there on social media.
I don't know if I want to do that.
Then we'll get to see how much black and white we got out there for everybody. Anybody got anything they want to add to the show before we get to the wrap up here?
No, boys. I think I'm gonna go though. I gotta
make sure Mama's not upset with you too much. Tell her we apologize.
I appreciate you boys allowing me to be on the show. Thank you so much, and looking forward to the next Average Bros and to hanging out with you a little bit on Friday night, Brian.
I'll see you Friday night, bro. All
right, bye guys.
See you. Thanks for hopping in here. We're definitely
so week 6. Week 6. Are we in week 6?
We are headed into week 6, yes.
Headed into week 6. Don't forget to set your lineups for week 6. Don't forget 4 teams on bye. Let's hope that the COVID stays away. Like Josh was just saying, we will be back for this broadcast on the 21st of October at 8:30 p.m. East Coast time. The first broadcast of the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast will take place at 12:01 a.m. East Coast time Saturday morning. If you're up, make sure you come out and watch their mugs finally on video. If you always wanted to see what they look like, you got to see Josh tonight. Make sure you come out and see Brad and Eric. That podcast of that broadcast will be released at 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Then we will host happy hour on Sunday just before kickoff of the Rams San Francisco 49ers game on 18 October. The guys will be back for another broadcast Sunday going into Monday. I don't want to timestamp it yet because I'm not sure what time they're going to be able to get around to doing it, but they will release their podcast Monday morning after that. And then Kevin and Josh, the bad Josh, will be back with the Average Bro Show on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock East Coast time, and that will be on the 20th of October. If all of these time slots and shows are confusing to you, make sure you go over to the newly designed website at fsa-fr.com. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of the website and look in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see a schedule of all the broadcast and podcast. Make sure you go out and follow us on all of our social media. You will find links for all of those at the top and bottom of the new website. And don't forget, we're still in the jersey business as well. If you would like the jersey, hit us up. We are actually in the works of making one for one of our friends at Veterans Referring Veterans as we speak. And then don't forget to go out and check out all of our sponsors. We have a whole section on the newly designed page for our sponsors as well. Click on sponsors at the top of the page. It will scroll you down to the middle of the page. You can check out all of their website links and all of their social media as well. And in case you want to know what those logos look like and who they are, Finger Lakes Mercantile, one of our bowl game sponsors, Football Darts, which is this broadcast sponsor. Nature Coast Tailgating, which is our World Championship sponsor. Deep South Creations Bowl sponsor. Southern Sirens Sugar Scrub Bowl sponsor. QB54, which is a sponsor of our Arm and Leg League. Cranky Veteran Candle Company, one of our bowl game sponsors. And the Recast, the official music of FSA. And shortly, we will be announcing a new sponsor for you all. Don't want to give too much right now, as we are still working with the company to help them design their logo, as they are pretty much in their infancy, and I can't wait to see this company grow with us. So we will be announcing them shortly. Make sure you're checking back over the next couple of weeks so you can see who they are. Kevin, what else you got for us tonight?
That's it for me. Just remember to go out and say your prayers for Josh Allen. Hope he bounces back this week and gets back in the good graces of us for Monday night. And then check out all of our shows, the new website, lots of great things coming here with FSA, and a lot more to come.
So anybody else who wanted to see what one of those other minimalist hat looks like, Kevin being a big fan of the Patriots, there is the Patriots minimalist hat. I think Sean said earlier that he needs to go out and look for an Atlanta hat. I actually don't know what the Atlanta minimalist hat looks like, so make sure you go out and take a peek at it. I'm going to have to look as soon as we get done here as well and see what that looks like. Thank you for watching the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. That's not us. We are the Fanatically Real broadcast. It's time to go to bed, man. It's too late. How am I going to stay up all the way until midnight and produce the show with them? What are you doing Friday night? Are you going to be there with me?
I have a feeling that I will be there. I will. Somebody's got to keep you sane.
I need to have somebody there with me. I just called this show their show. Let's hope I don't do that on their show on Friday night. Make sure you go out and follow us on all of our social media. Go out and check out the new website. Heck, if you're on TikTok, go follow us on TikTok. We out there now. So, all right, y'all have a great night, and we will see you, if you're awake, 12:01 in the morning, East Coast time, on the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast, their first broadcast under the FSA umbrella. You all have a great night.